All right, so for my celebration speech, I'd really like to talk about a person who is very special to me and had a great impact in my life. He was a neighbor of mine. He lived just up the street, actually, and he really helped me out in a time of my life when I was just, starting to learn how to drive. I was about to start high school, and I had a lot of different questions and stuff like this, and actually was the man who gave me my first car. And how it kind of happened is one summer, right before my sophomore year, he came down and he was talking to my dad about something. I was working in the yard, and he's always been a close family friend. My dad and I have always gone up and helped him when it snowed a lot, and we'd shovel his walk and take care of different things for him. He's always just been a real nice guy, and always came out and talked to us, always tried to help us out the best he could. He was an older gentleman, in his late 80s really, but really funny and just really awesome to get along with. And him and my dad were talking one day, and I was in the backyard, and I could see him talking in the front about something. I didn't know what was going on. And anyways, later my dad's like, "Hey, Mr. Hunter said he needed some help, so why don't you go up there and help him?" So I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I go up there, and he was out in his garage fiddling around with something like he always is, and he yelled, I was like, "Hey, Mr. Hunter, my dad said you needed help with something." He's like, yeah. He's like, "Come check out this old car I have." And it was just a SUV, awesome little truck, and we jumped in it and we went for a ride and talking about what most guys do, girls, sports, and all that stuff, about neighbors we don't like in the neighborhood, and just having a good time. And anyways, we were getting back, and he's like, what do you think of this old truck? And I'm like, "Well, it's pretty cool, black, it's my favorite color." And he's like, "Well, my son had this truck when he was about your age, and I don't really know what to do with it, so here, how about you have it?" And he tried to hand me the keys, and I'm like, "No way, Mr. Hunter, you're not giving me a truck." I was like, "I'd be happy to pay for it, let's try to figure out something, but you're not giving me a truck." And he's like, no, I really want to. And we sat there and argued for a very long time, but I'm a pretty stubborn person, and so he eventually had to give in. I was like, "All right, well, I'll tell you what, I've got a basement, and I need help finishing a room, and I need some help." And he's like, "Why don't you come over and help me, and when I feel like we're fair, we're fair." And I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "Well, when I feel we're fair, then we'll do it." He said, "All right, whatever." So the next day I go over and I start helping him do all this stuff, and I help him finish this room. I put sheetrock in it. I end up painting it. I do some other things to his garage and help him reorganize. And anyways, he kept saying like, "Oh, okay, that's good," and I just kept saying no. Well, eventually, the summer days kept going, and I started getting colder again, and fall started rolling in, and I was about to start school, and he's like, "All right, we definitely have to be done now. You can't keep coming over every day and helping me." And I was like, "Oh, all right, I guess we're fair." So at that point, he gave me the truck, and it became my first vehicle, and I have so many memories in that old truck. And it wasn't about him just giving me that. It was those days I spent with him. I learned so much from Mr. Hunter, and he answered so many questions that I had about starting school. He was a college professor at one time and knew a lot about kids starting a new environment and relationships and all that jazz. And it was just great to be able to hear from that generation. I was just always zone out when old people will talk, but he touched something inside me that not a lot of people have been able to do. And I wish Mr. Hunter was still around, but sadly he passed away a few years ago, and it was tough for me at that point because he had such a great impact in my life, and I knew I could always go up and talk to someone who really became my friend and someone who I've looked up to, because he had a very strong character that I hope someday I can achieve and even just get an ounce of that. He was very firm in his beliefs, and he showed them and wasn't afraid to let other people know. And he was probably the most thing that I enjoyed about him is he was such a caring person. I was able to find out later that he has given hundreds of thousands of dollars really away to helping other people out, especially to his family. He had a family member when he was not too old actually started and ended up really building her house and all this other stuff. And he, he's an extremely caring person, and he never was prideful, never boasted about what he had, but he really made an impact on my life, and I hope someday that I can try to accomplish some of the things he did and become similar to the person he was. He was that good. And so that was my celebration speech about John Hunter, who I know and loved, and thanks for watching.